Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're running a couple minutes late, but we should be able to end on time. Thank you guys for joining us. We have a great program today, great networking, and 9 fantastic presenting companies, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. Our presenting companies are at tables behind, so after their pitch, you can feel free to talk to them. Just from housekeeping standpoint, so we have a couple of awesome speakers, including 2 investors, and we have our presenters, after which we have the room till about noon. So, you know, we got plenty of food over there. Tony, is everybody on a diet or something? I mean, okay. We got donuts too. So anyway, thank you guys for coming today. I'd like to draw your attention to our program book, and I want to thank a few people. We have our very good-looking and awesome host committee, many of whom are here today. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. On the back page, we have our social media outlets. So Emily told me to make sure you guys all scan and follow us. And also, I do want to thank our partners, and I want to thank them by name. First and foremost, we have George Washington University, the Tech Commercialization Office. They are our host today, and we'll be hearing from their head momentarily. Next, powered by Schulman Rogers and Schulman Rogers, Buzzy Rocket, NFP. Rich DePippo was here. He's got a board meeting at the business school today, but they've been instrumental in helping us with GW in so many ways. The Northern Virginia Tech Council, the Maryland Tech Council, Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, Sim Securities, Startup Grind, the Cybersecurity Association, Keiretsu Forum, the Dingman Center at University of Maryland and the Dingman Angels, Georgetown Entrepreneurship, the MIT Alumni Angels of DC, BioBuzz, Founder Institute, the annual Wharton Innovation Summit, Center for Advancing Innovation, the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Blue Venture Investors and Citrine Angels, Enterprise Transformation Solutions, the USIDC, the Chicago Archangels, and Ryan and Wetmore. Please, let's give it up for all of our great sponsors and partners. Thank you. A couple of other housekeeping notes. The Moxie Award applications are open, moxieaward.com. We are I don't know what we are, partner, I guess, of Ethan and his team. So I know there are many Moxie Award winners in the room, so it's a great program. Have a great dinner at the Ritz-Carlton and Tyson's later on this year. So if any awesome companies or service professionals are interested in being nominated, let me know, or you can self-nominate or have someone nominate you. That's open. On May 28th, we are hosting an investor-only virtual meeting. Our table over there, we have a QR code. You can sign up if you're an investor. On June 22nd, is anyone going out to Bio in San Diego? Okay, I won't talk about our event there. We are hosting an event in Newport Beach in California on June 25th also. So if anyone's out on the West Coast, let us know. We have more information on our website. And with that, I'd like to bring up our first speaker, who's also our host today, Brian Koblitz, who's the Executive Director of Technology Commercialization here at GW. Brian, thank you for everything. Come on up and tell us about all the great things you're doing.
Good morning. And congratulations to Tien on organizing another outstanding CONNECTpreneur event. The George Washington University, well deserved. The George Washington University and our Technology Commercialization Office are proud to host and sponsor today's gathering. We're not just preparing a new generation of innovators, we're actively cultivating DC's innovation ecosystem. We're strengthening our downtown business core through collaboration between industry, academic, and governmental partners. This synergy is crucial for driving progress, solving complex challenges, and shaping the future across industries and society. As you can see by the energy here today, innovation and entrepreneurship are thriving in the nation's capital. GW is a recognized hotbed of cutting-edge research, consistently providing breakthroughs that can solve critical industry problems. We're very excited that 2 of our licensees announced positive results from their clinical trials last year, both of which are proceeding to pivotal trials. One's developing a therapeutic antibody for solid tumors, and the other a topical treatment for side effects from chemotherapy. Beyond research and education, GW is a vital hub for high-tech equipment and expertise, offering services directly to industry. Consider just a couple of examples. We have our nanofabrication and imaging center equipped for manufacturing semiconductors. And we have the GW Trustworthy AI Initiative, or TRAIL, that offers a corporate membership program designed to facilitate shared events, joint research projects, workforce development programs, and talent recruitment with industry partners. We understand the importance of a vibrant community of innovators and investors like those here today, working together to take new ideas from the lab to the world. True Bearing Diagnostics, co-founded by GW's 2026 Inventor of the Year, Tim McCaffrey. There's Tim, let's give him a hand. Exemplifies this path, developing advanced blood tests for infections and more. By translating rigorous science into practical tools, True Bearing aims to enable earlier insights, better clinical decision-making, and improved patient outcomes. ImmunoBlue represents another powerful model of translational impact. The biotechnology company is developing cutting-edge cancer treatments, combining nanotechnology and immunotherapy to stimulate targeted immune cells. Together, these ventures reflect the high potential of teams emerging from university research, strengthened through mentorship from GW's Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and strategic intellectual property support from our Technology Commercialization Office. For entrepreneurs and investors in this room, here's why GW should be on your radar. We're proud to cultivate technologies with strong product market fit that are ready for entrepreneurs to license. In fact, in the last year alone, our TCO provided over $400,000 to validate promising inventions, helping to de-risk these innovations for commercial partners like you. We invite you to engage with our innovative community. I thank those of you who joined us yesterday for TCO's innovation competition. Expect to see startups formed around the competing technologies pitching at CONNECTpreneur soon. GW also hosts one of the country's largest student pitch competitions, the New Venture Competition. Our Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship will host the award ceremony with the top pitches next Thursday. April 30th, GW hosts its second Innovation Fest. This event, which is open to the public, features some of the newest GW startups, plus panels on trustworthy AI and AI in drug development. Hands-on demonstration booths will share a diverse array of GW research. Thank you all for your vital contributions to innovation and entrepreneurship in the district. Let's work together to bring more innovations to market.
Thank you so much, Brian. I do want to acknowledge Bob Smith, who's in the room. He's with OIE, and sitting next to Bob is the one and only Jim Chung. Jim, please say hi. Jim was Bob's predecessor, and he's the real reason we're at GW. He and Rich DePippo brought us here, so thank you for doing that, Jim. Next up, I'd like to introduce you to Exodi Rowe, who is the Deputy Director for Business and Economic Development with DemPed, the government of the District of Columbia. As you guys will soon hear, the district is alive and well and doing great stuff. So Exodi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here on behalf of the Deputy Mayor, Nina Albert, who is our Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. We call it DemPed for short. We really appreciate, and I appreciate, the invitation. Events like CONNECTpreneur do something government cannot do. Connects ideas and ideas to people who know how to execute, and that matters tremendously to our local economy here. I want to start by sharing some brief facts, and then I want to tell you about some great opportunities that we have in the district government. So let me start by saying something that might be surprising for some people. Washington, D.C. is the #3 tech city in the United States right now and ranks in the top 5 for startup success. And we're not just one of the best tech ecosystems in the country, we are one of the most inclusive. DC is the #1 city right now for women in tech and home to one of the most diverse tech workforces in the nation. What makes DC and our positioning so successful is a lot of our federal agencies that we have here. Everything from NIH, FDA, HRSA, CMS are all here. The initiative, though, that I want to speak to you all about today very briefly is our DC Venture Capital Fund. This is a $26 million public fund of funds launched by Mayor Bowser to make equity investments in pre-seed, seed, and early-stage tech companies right here in Washington, D.C. This is a true public-private partnership. For every dollar the district invests, private investors are required to contribute at least an equal amount, effectively doubling available capital to a minimum of $52 million in DC startups. And we've moved fast on this. We selected our first fund managers. One is called the Hustle Fund, and the second is Political Ventures. These firms have deep experience, and they're helping our entrepreneurs in the city grow. The deal size ranges from $250,000 up to $5 million for qualifying DC-based firms. So investments are beginning now. If you would like to learn more, I encourage you to join our call tomorrow. We're going to have a webinar. If you type in Google DMPED, D-M-P-E-D, and then just put technology, TEF for short, you will see it there, and you can sign up for that webinar as well. So these are some of the things that we are doing at the district level to kind of help our businesses succeed here. Beyond that, I want to talk now just very briefly about our tech ecosystem fund. This fund, again, we're talking about this tomorrow. I would encourage you to be on our webinar. That money is going out for firms who are in tech and doing a range of tech, everything from health to AI. I met a few people here today that have told me about their businesses that I think would make a good fit for some of this funding. So just want to say DC is not waiting for the future of innovation. We are investing in it. Whether you are a founder looking for your first check or a growth stage company, DMPED wants to be your partner. You can visit DMPED at dmped.dc.gov to learn more. And of course, I want to say good luck to all of the companies here that are going to be doing their pitches today. So on behalf of Mayor Bowser and Deputy Mayor Nina Albert, thank you all so much, and happy to share more information with you all as well. And again, please visit that webinar because we are launching now, and that fund that I talked about is going to close in May. Thank you all.
Thank you, Exodi. Really exciting to see what the district is doing here to help foster innovation and entrepreneurship. Next up is the unofficial mayor of DC, Mr. Jack McDougall. I say that with all due respect to the district. Jack is the CEO of the Greater Washington Board of Trade, and he's going to talk a little bit about some of the great things he's doing to advance business, new company formation, hiring, and relocations, et cetera, here to the DMV. You guys have done some amazing things, and we want to hear all about it. Thanks for joining us this morning, Jack.
All right, great. Thanks, Tien, and thank you for having me come out today, and thank you all for being here as well. A lot of energy in this room. As you all know, Tien never sleeps, and that's why he's able to bring together these really gatherings of people from all over the country, all over the world, crossing industry sectors, and so really great to be here for that. So I wanted to share a couple observations about the Board of Trade and our region. The Board of Trade was founded in 1889. We came together at a time in post-Civil War Reconstruction when there was no district government. And so the business community came together, pooled its resources. They built sidewalks, they put in street lighting, they built a police force, they collected trash, and they did the things that were necessary to do to conduct business. And so for our entire history, that's what we've continued to do. We were instrumental in getting the airports built, the transit system built, a lot of our bridges built, a lot of investments across the region. So we're continuing to do that today. And our real focus is on building out economic and community infrastructure. And that's really where we focus now. We focus primarily on transit and transportation issues. We focus on energy right now, which has become so critical to our innovation economy. And then we also focus on business growth. And that's what a lot of the folks here are very interested in. Our geography, we use the Census Bureau Metropolitan Statistical Area definition, so that covers about Columbia and Annapolis in Maryland, out to the West Virginia border and Fredericksburg in Virginia, about 6.2 million people, annual economic output about 700 billion. It's really interesting, our region has about 3.5 million jobs. Over the past several years, we've slowly been reducing our reliance on the federal government. I think most people here know that our economy has had an outsized impact by the federal government. Of our total employee base right now, about 17% are direct federal government workers, and about 7% are government contractors. So we have a really vibrant economy in our region that's not directly affiliated with the federal government, and that continues to grow. And that's where a lot of the opportunities are, especially the opportunities that many of you are looking for, in addition to looking for relationships with the federal government. And so that's been an interesting transition. Also, too, today where we are as a region, one of the things that holds us back historically has been that over-reliance on the federal government, but the other thing that kind of holds us back is regional fragmentation. Too often, DC, Maryland, and Virginia operate as very separate entities, and so that oftentimes can make it very difficult to do business. And so we are working to begin to harmonize some of the structures across this region to make it much more easy to attract capital, to attract talent, and to grow your businesses here. You know, it's very inconsistent how we grow businesses here. There's a lot of upfront interest, particularly in tech startups and tech transfer. But then when we start growing companies, it can become more difficult. And so we're looking to relieve some of those tensions so that we can really grow and think about full life cycle business development here. And so there's a lot of opportunities there. Our region right now is being impacted by the perfect storm, the federal transformation that's taking place, disruptive technologies, and then lingering outcomes from the pandemic. And all three of those are hitting us at the same time. So while in the short term, it's a pretty tenuous environment out there, the long-term prospects are pretty strong for our region. You know, it has been talked about here already, and we'll continue to talk about, particularly on the tech side. We have a really thriving tech economy here. You know, I don't really put too much stake in rankings because they can be manipulated all over the place, but we are a top-tier destination for investment. Tech investment, even though I know Tien spends most of his time on the West Coast and other places trying to attract capital for that, but we still do attract a fair amount of capital here. You know, as was said earlier, we are still a top-tier tech talent region. One of the things that separates, you know, a lot of regions can claim, you know, tech talent, or they can claim a really talented workforce, but something that's a little different about our workforce, and I was talking with some folks earlier, is our workforce here is really mission-driven in a way that's different than other regions. It's about solving big problems. So whether workers came here to work for the federal government or they came here to work for the densest concentration of nonprofits in the planet, people come to our region to solve big problems. And so that gives us a very unique advantage in the kinds of tech talent that you all have access to here in this region. So that's a really positive attribute that our region has as well. We also have a pretty phenomenal R&D infrastructure here, as well as university structure. 18 universities claim their main campus within our region, and you know, there's a lot of activity in DC, but another example of that is, you know, the work out of the University of Maryland with IonQ, for example, and so really good pipelines there to continue to tap into. So the opportunities are really phenomenal. One thing that we need to do a better job of this region, and I would reach out, and I've talked to some folks here today, is that policymakers in our region need to hear from all of you a lot more. They're hearing from other industries, but they're not hearing enough from tech industries, and they're not hearing enough from startups and entrepreneurs. And what are the friction points that you're running into as you're getting your businesses launched and off the ground and growing? And so we need to make sure that we're improving those lines of communication so they know, right now, and again, no offense to DC, but as DC is actually losing some federal jobs, they are making some investments, but there's a real strong impetus out there to raise certain taxes, which wouldn't have a good long-term effect. I know the mayor doesn't necessarily support these, but we need to keep an eye on these things and how we move the region forward and making sure that we continue to be able to attract the kind of businesses and business growth that we want. I will share one thing that the Board of Trade has been doing, as Tien referenced, and with John Yetman and Tom and others here working with us, we've launched a business growth initiative to help close one of the gaps in the capital stack across the region. A lot of businesses here go through programs that are government funded to just kind of get started, some of the community investment funds and others. But then once they get through those programs, there's nowhere for them to go. So we've created something called the Business Growth Initiative, which helps get them through that next tier so that they can then become eligible for either equity investments, debt, or other types of financing that's necessary to grow their companies. So we think there's an opportunity here across our region to really increase the value of our economic portfolio by helping companies grow and stay here. And the long-term prospects of that are really, really positive. And so anyway, with that, just wanted to provide a quick overview and thoughts of what's going on, and happy to talk to folks during one of the breaks after that.
Thank you so much, Jack, and for all you're doing for the region. We have two awesome investors who are going to come up and talk about what they do. First up, I'd like to bring up Jeff Cherry, who's the managing general partner of Conscious Venture Partners. He's also involved in the Novella Center. He is very active. He's doing stuff. He's based in Baltimore, but he's doing stuff in Italy and in New Jersey. So, Jeff, welcome, and let's hear more about what you're doing.
Dan, you have my notes? Because I don't know what I'm talking. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for inviting me. Tien and I have known each other for a long time. He got me to do two things today that I normally don't do: get up at dark 30 and take the train from Baltimore to DC and eat a donut. I know, it'll get me to eat the. You be quiet now. My name is Jeff Cherry, and I spent a long time in DC. I was here for almost 30 years before I moved back home to New York to start a hedge fund, and then about 13 years ago moved to Baltimore to start a thing called the Conscious Venture Lab. The Conscious Venture Lab was a startup accelerator that grew out of lots of experiences I had building businesses here in DC and the work we did on Wall Street, working on a couple of books on the idea of stakeholder theory with a guy named Raj Sisodia, who wrote a book called Firms of Endearment, another book called Conscious Capitalism that we wrote with John Mackey from Whole Foods. And I'm also the managing partner and founder of Conscious Venture Partners, which is the associated venture capital fund. So our thesis really is about a couple of things. First of all, we always talk about this idea that there are really smart people everywhere. We talk about how DC is an emerging tech city, but lots of you probably already know these stats. 80% of venture capital funds in the United States goes to 4 states: New York, California, Texas, and Massachusetts. The rest of us fight over the other 20%. And we have this idea that something about that doesn't seem right, because there's smart people everywhere. There's just not opportunity everywhere. So we always say that we'll invest in anybody, no matter where they come from and no matter what they look like, but we actually really mean it, which means we do a better job than most of our competitors at getting into communities of underrepresented founders that lots of other venture funds are ignoring for cognitive or intentional bias. The other thing that we focus on is this idea of stakeholder theory. We believe that the best companies aren't companies that focus myopically on shareholders. They're actually companies that understand how to create a mutual exchange of value for all their stakeholders. So we built the Conscious Venture Lab essentially on those two premises. For the first 3 years at CVL, we were investing off our own balance sheet, and then we launched our first fund in 2018. Very small fund, proof of concept, couple of $1 million that did pretty well. We were the first investor in a company called Hungry Harvest that some of you may have heard of, University of Maryland grad, that's done exceptionally well. We then raised a second fund. We 10x, so we went from 1.8 million to 18 million in our second fund. A little bit of proof of concept goes a long way. We had a bunch of really interesting LPs. Kevin Plank from Under Armour, Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Baltimore Ravens, a couple of banks, Brown Advisory, a couple of institutional investors. So we invested out of that fund up until 2020. And then in 2021, we launched our third fund, which we're raising right now. We're going to try to 10x again, raising $100 million this time around. We've got a pretty big anchor investor, about $8 million, and a lot of our LPs from Fund 2 are coming in. And we just recently had our first partial exit, where we turned about $125,000 into $5 million so far. So that's getting people excited. So that's sort of the thesis of what we do. Our accelerator program is really the main feeder for our fund. We really sort of focus on, as I said, looking into communities of underrepresented founders to give you a sense of what that means for us. Another stat, throughout the United States, Black and Latin brown founders get roughly 1% to 2% of all venture capital dollars that are invested in the United States. And women founders do a whole lot better. They get about 4% of venture capital that's invested in the United States. And so far, across our two funds, we've invested about 70% of our capital in underrepresented founders, women or minority founders. And thanks. So when we hear from larger funds that, well, we're trying to invest in black and brown folks, and we're trying to invest in women, we just can't find any, we say, keep it up, because it's better for us if you don't. But at the end of the day, that's sort of what we're focused on. So I'm just really thrilled to be here. I know there's a lot of energy in the room, lots going on. We are hoping to get to first close of our third fund in about 30 days, and I think we'll get to about 20 million on the first close, or it'll put us on a path. So if there are any high net worth individuals in the audience with lots of money burning a hole in your pocket, come see me. I know the entrepreneurs, they won't be shy. I'll not to tell them to come see me. They'll already do that. So the rest of you who are looking for something really fantastic to do with your capital, please say hello. And Tien, thanks as always for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. And congratulations on leading the way with, one of the earlier conscious funds, venture funds out there. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay, good. Sorry. Next up is Paige Soya. Paige is the managing partner and chief investment officer of K Street Capital. They're based here in DC. They're very active as a fund of funds manager as well as a direct investor. And Paige, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit about what you guys are up to. Let's give it up.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay also? Okay, let me move this a little bit down. Cool. So I'm Paige Soya. I'm the managing partner of K Street Capital, which is an early stage venture capital firm in Washington, D.C. I'll talk about that in a second. But my background was originally in finance for many years, and ultimately I left to found a fintech company that was venture-backed in the payment space. And I exited that company in 2018 and started doing some angel investing. And I'm still an angel investor today, so I think I've invested in about 35 companies over the last 8 years or so. And K Street Capital started out as an angel investment firm initially, a group of us, myself included, who were investing directly into seed and pre-seed companies that were in regulated markets in DC. And most of you guys know that that almost everything is in a regulated market nowadays. So we invest in a lot of different things, but a lot of health tech, cybersecurity, fintech, things like that. And over that period of time, I guess for the last 10 years, 12 years that K Street has existed, We've created multiple unicorns from those very early investments across all of these different spaces, and that led us to create a fund, right? So we invest out of our venture capital fund, similar thesis, but we kept the angel group because we often see companies that aren't a perfect fit for our fund. They might be a little bit too early, or maybe a little bit too late, or maybe they're not exactly in a regulated market, but it's still an interesting investment. So we kept that angel syndicate, and we still make direct investments out of it today. So that's how we invest. We also invest out of our fund, and then the last piece of what we do is we also invest in fund managers. So I'll talk a little bit about what Brian was saying earlier, because we have a fund of funds vehicle where we manage the capital on behalf of the District of Columbia to invest in other fund managers like us that are investing a portion of their capital in Washington, D.C. And that program is relatively new. We founded it, I guess, 2 years ago technically, but really we started deploying and building the vehicle out last year. And as Brian was saying, we've invested in 2 funds, Lytical Ventures and Hustle Fund, and those funds have already invested in companies in DC now today. So I don't know if these have been publicly announced yet, but it's pretty exciting. One of them is Hidden, which is in the cybersecurity ID space, and the other one is Sumeria Space, which is a space company in the satellite laser communications space. So very cool. And I say this because I think people think of DC as being very government focused, and although we do have the power of the federal government here, there's a lot of other tech in DC, and K Street has been investing in that tech for 12 years. So it's not new, it's growing, and it's exciting for the region. So I say all that because we, through this fund of funds program that we manage, we've started doing a lot of events for the public, which is new for us. In the past, K Street, we always did our events privately only for our investors and LPs and for our portfolio companies. But now we've opened them up publicly, and a lot of you might remember, might have been at Crush last year, which is our big year-end venture capital and tech event for founders and investors, and that was really successful. So we thought we should do more of that through the fund of funds and try to connect more DC-based startups to venture capital funds and investors who are deploying capital here in the region. So we started doing that this year, and we actually had one of those events just last night. Super successful, and it was crazy because we feel like at K Street we know all of the founders in DC in this space because we've been doing it for a long time, but there were a ton of companies there that we've never seen before, people we've never even met or heard of. I think like half of the people that were there, which was really cool. And again, all across different spaces: cybersecurity, health tech, energy, AI, of course, and that's pretty exciting to know that we have that many new founders that we haven't even seen at these events. So we're going to keep doing it. And you can find out more about this, whether you're a founder or an investor, and you don't have to be a VC, you can be just an angel investor or any type of investor. The idea is just to make these connections and to continue to expand on the amazing work that the District of Columbia did by putting this program in place. So it's just the beginning of the program too. Those 2 funds that we invested in are the first 2, but we're going to probably invest in 2 or 3 more this year and also next year. And then those fund managers will continue to deploy capital for the next 4 or 5 years out of their funds too. So K Street. So we invest in regulated tech, as I mentioned, but early stage, seed stage companies, sometimes Series A, and then we tend to invest throughout the life cycle. So when our companies do well, and we try to keep our pro rata and continue to invest all the way through exit or Series D, Series E, and a lot of those companies have gone on to come back after they've exited and become investors at K Street. So you might see some of them at some of our events. And I think for us, we invest across the whole country, and across the whole U.S. But we've actually, most of our investments have been in the DC area, and that wasn't intentional. That over the last 10 years, that just happened because there were a lot of great companies here, and a lot of them have done. In fact, all of our unicorns were DC-based companies, which is pretty cool. So because of that, we were like, more people should know about this and be engaged in it, and the district listens, and they created this amazing program that we've had the pleasure of managing for the last year or so here. So if you want to come to these events, or if if you're raising capital as a founder, or if you are an investor investing wherever, it doesn't matter, but you want to see some interesting deal flow, We're going to share more about these events over the next few weeks and months and really for the rest of the year. And you can find out about them on our newsletter, on our website, and on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way also. And feel free to connect with me and our team. I think we've got Allie and Joseph and Nick here. Can you guys raise your hands if you are here? Yeah. They're on our investment team at K Street Capital, and we're always looking for great founders. So thank you.
Thank you, Paige. I mean, Paige and Jeff are very accessible investors, and what I love about what they're doing is they're all about community. And you don't always see that with investors, as many of you guys know. All right, so we have 9 presenting companies, and they will be introduced by Kevin Lees. Kevin is a partner at Shulman Rogers, which is one of our awesome sponsors. He's also Next, powered by Shulman Rogers, is the startup arm of Shulman Rogers, and they do amazing work. They provide fixed price packages for early stage companies that allows them to manage their costs. I think founders always have an issue with legal fees, and the fact that Next can do that. And Shulman Rogers does great work. We've been working with you guys for 20-something years, and you're awesome. So without further ado, Jet, you want to come on up and switch up the PowerPoint, please? And I'd like to bring up Kevin to tell us a little bit about Shulman, and also he'll be introducing all 9 presenters this morning. Kevin, thank you. I forgot to say, this 4.5-minute pitches, and you'll be timed by Bay right here. Bay, can you raise your hand? Bay's in the front row. She'll be timing you. So just FYI, you'll have a clicker up here, right, Jet, to advance? Okay, and confidence monitor in the back. So good luck to all the presenters, and hopefully you guys will like what they have to say. Kevin?
Well, good morning. Thank you to Tien, Avery, Emily, the entire CONNECTpreneur team for putting this together. Brian and George Washington University, obviously. This is one of those rooms in DC where founders, investors, and real deal flow collide in a meaningful way. I'm Kevin Lees. I'm a partner at Shulman Rogers, and I'm co-chair of the funds practice. We spend a lot of our time helping form the funds and the structures behind a lot of what you're seeing on stage today. So we get a front row seat to how this ecosystem actually evolves. Through Next, Shulman Rogers' dedicated startup platform, we're trying to bring that same level of sophistication earlier, giving founders and investors alike predictable, fixed-fee access to senior legal talent with technology that actually makes the process efficient instead of painful. Because what we've seen is that today's founders, investors, in rooms like this, often become tomorrow's fund sponsors and tomorrow's portfolio investments. And we want to grow alongside them as they do. So without further ado, we've got some great companies today. The first one is Animate Biosciences. In biotech, some of the biggest opportunities come from rethinking how the body actually heals. Animate Biosciences is taking a novel, AI-driven approach to regenerative medicines, designing peptide therapeutics that aim not just to treat symptoms, but to fundamentally restore healthy tissue repair. So please welcome Dr. Peter Licari, CEO and founder.
Thank you and good morning. There's a small group of animals that are capable of regrowing limbs and organs, and they do this without inflammation and with remarkable fidelity. Axolotl, you can remove 30% of its heart and it grows back perfectly. Humans are very different. If you suffer injury, a heart attack, lung disease, liver disease, you will go through a heavy inflammation period followed by heavy scarring. And this can perpetuate and become chronic disease. At Animate Biosciences, we are using AI to understand the healing process in regenerative animals and develop therapeutics for healthy healing in people. Quick introduction to my fellow co-founders. Jessica Whitehead is our scientific co-founder, professor at Harvard. She is really the global authority on regenerative animals. Jonathan Wolfson is a serial entrepreneur. He was CEO at Solazyme. I had the privilege of working with him for a decade prior to Animate. So again, chronic disease is a healing problem. If you look at these lungs, on the left you have healthy lungs, on the right you have severely scarred lungs. So this scarring process continued to the point where the lungs no longer function and the patient succumbs. So we need to think about chronic disease as healing, and there are very common pathways across the different organs. And that's our interest, is hitting those common pathways and changing the healing process. So as I said, we use regenerative animals as a blueprint, but all of the genes that we identify that are involved in this fantastic healing process are present in adult humans. They've just been silenced. So using AI, we design peptides from these genes, and they're very effective. So we have a library of compounds that have shown efficacy in 4 different animal models, 4 different organ diseases: lung, heart, skin, and liver. And what we see is very consistent results. Dramatically reduced inflammation. We stop that scarring process that's so detrimental, and we see functional improvement across all of these studies. We're different than other companies in this space in that we are taking this network biology approach that the regenerative animals provide. We're not saying, let's go after this one pathway, knock it out, and see what happens. It's a very networked approach to solving the problem. So when you think about healing, there are no great solutions today. The markets are tremendous. However, with that said, our initial focus is lung disease caused by immunotherapy and cancer treatment. Quick look at the financials. I think the 2 key points here: we expect big value inflection over the next 2 years as we file with the FDA and we conduct our phase 1, and then we'll look for a strategic acquisition in 28, 29. We've raised $6 million to date. We're currently raising $3 million to support our pre-IND activities. This is a huge unmet medical need, and we would love for you to participate. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Licari. We move now to data to decision. From therapeutics to data, one of the biggest shifts in healthcare right now is moving from reactive care to continuous predictive insight. Dacian is building a platform that turns something as simple as voice into a real-time biomarker, giving clinicians a way to monitor patient health trajectories before issues become acute. Please welcome Dr. Wei-Ching Gu, founder and CEO.
Hi, my name is Dr. Wei-Ching Gu. So we use voice to build a voice AI platform. It was originally founded by National Science Foundation for detecting multiple diseases. It turns out, surprised, that same voice AI platform got a lot of attractions. The attractions from clinical decision support, remote monitoring, especially rural healthcare delivery. And now, today, we are using that platform, let it used by doctors, and it automatically evolves into disease detection platform. What's the problem? healthcare still detect diseases too late. Why? It is non-explainable AI. We use voice to extract the biomarkers to create a distance function, can measure the deviates from that person's own voice baseline. So we can tell the disease, the voice is changing. Different changing corresponding different kind of diseases. So also efficient workflow and also limited access to healthcare. A lot of people asked me, Dr. Gu, you are professor of AI, full-stack engineer. How could you get into healthcare? That's actually started with my mother. When I was 15, go to college. When I was 18, become professor. My mother held my hand and said, you must be your own doctor. I did not understand what she's talking about. But later, while I was working at the UPenn in the robotic room, I learned that my mother got breast cancer, late depression. I called her thousands of miles away. She's so great, always tell me, don't worry, I'm fine. But that simple sentence, I'm fine, I can hear every time it's different. It's weakened, so I can tell the difference could detect diseases long before it was diagnosed that particular depression, etc. So that's actually launched 2 decades of research into voice as a medical signal, bring care those ones who cared for us. So my student, Elon Musk at UPenn, went on to build AI for machine. I went on to build AI for human health. After 2 decades of work, now our AI platform can not only do voice to documentations, but the same voice wave data, we did not waste it. We extract the biomarkers to do the disease detection. So now we already have 31.5 million voice sense licensing agreement started this September coming. And we finished our National Science Foundation funded projects. We have recently added 30 skilled nurse facility across multiple states. And also many of the partners currently contact me for rural healthcare initiative, transformation initiative. So our go-to-market strategy is first use this AI platform as a dictation tools for documents for doctor. But at the same time, as usage grows, it automatically becomes a voice detect disease platform. I have a very strong team from AI business to oral medical, expanded by US top talents plus 24/7 AI agents. Our system is excel on the accuracy, explainability. We are asking for 1 million bridge fund for NSF to match the NSF funding. So for deployment and for scaling. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gu. We now shift to a space that's massive but overlooked, dentistry, where innovation can directly impact both patient experience and provider economics. Enamel Pure is combining laser technology and AI imaging to rethink one of the most common medical procedures in the world, making it faster, more effective, and more scalable. Please welcome Nathan Monti, co-founder and CEO.
Good morning, Nathan Monti, co-founder and CEO of Enamel Pure. Enamel Pure is redefining what it means to go to the hygienist. There's 160 million teeth cleanings in America every year. Teeth cleaning plus fluoride treatments round up to about $16 billion spent, and half of that comes out of pocket. Worldwide, the market's over 50 billion. So what's the problem? The problem is that it's extremely slow. The technology is 50 or 60 years old. It's noisy, you spit, you bleed, it hurts. I think everybody knows the problem. It's not the size of the market, it's the technology used to service the market. So this is Loon. Enamel Pure introduces a combination laser and camera to do the clinical side as well as the diagnostic side in preventive dentistry. So the laser is used to clean your teeth and kill the bacteria. It's used with a diamond tip to go under your gums to clean and kill the bacteria. The settings are changed to then harden your teeth to eliminate the need for fluoride in the dental office. And there's a whitening mouth guard you can wear as you drive home if you want a professional whitening. While that all happens, the laser is invisible, so the camera can see down the same handpiece and do a 3D image scan of your teeth and create a 3D file, such that when you come back appointment after appointment, we can computerize it and use AI to tell you, well, what's going on? Your gums are receding, your enamel's receding. So we're digitizing, and while we do all that, we're twice as fast as existing procedures. So where are we now? We have 3 FDA clearances. We've finished the pilot manufacturing at an FDA-audited contract manufacturing house. We put 6 units in dental offices in the New England area and tracked them for 6 months with our dental KOLs. We've signed 3 national sales agreements, one with Henry Schein, one with Benco, and one with Burkhart. Schein's the largest dental distribution company in the world. Benco's over $1 billion in sales. Burkhart is a smaller $200 million sales company. We're looking to raise $2 million at 18 million pre, so it's $2 million for 10%. We're trying to launch the production in August. The money is used to pay for the inventory. How do we distribute? How do we manufacture? I've already mentioned it. We use the national sales distribution companies to not only sell, but also to train and service. Our job is to train them. They've got thousands of salespeople and service people all over America ready to service. There's 220,000 hygienists. 1% of the market would swamp us. Manufacturing is done in Newburyport, Massachusetts, an FDA-audited firm. They build the unit, they store the inventory, build the unit, and ship directly to the dental office. We never see it. The revenue model is we sell Loon for a capital equipment margin. We then charge for every single procedure. The cleaning, the purification, which is enamel hardening to replace the fluoride, for the whitening, for the bacterial reduction under the gums, and then as the camera is taking the images, we give an AI report and we charge for the AI report on every visit. I'm Nathan Monti. This is my 4th company. I have 2 exits. The 3rd company is called Convergent Dental. That was my first venture into dentistry. They're in Waltham, Mass, about 30 million in sales. Chuck worked with me at 2 of those companies. He's now a patent lawyer in Boston. We have 23 patents filed. We have 9 issued. We have no competition other than the existing methods that are 50 or 60 years old. So again, the raise is $2 million at 18 million pre. The funds, $1.5 million of it go to the inventory, and another $500,000 go towards our working capital. We believe we significantly reduced the risk on the business, and we're just looking to launch with our sales partners. Burkhart will start selling next month, and I just need the money for the inventory to make the product this summer. Thank you very much for your time. I'd love to talk to you.
All right, great. Thank you so much. We turn next to Endomedics. Endomedics is tackling a very real, very costly surgical problem, bleeding control in high-risk procedures. It's developed a next-generation absorbable hemostat designed to dramatically improve speed, safety, and outcomes in neurosurgery and beyond. Please welcome Richard Russo, President and CEO.
So Endomedics is going to transform the control of bleeding starting in brain surgery. We're going to do this with a new class of biomaterials that we've developed and patented. Now, brain surgery is a challenging procedure, and obtaining hemostasis in brain surgery is both challenging and critical. The current standard of care uses a combination of chemical action and manual compression. There are limits to that, particularly in brain surgery, and due to a study of 7,376 cases, we now know that I'm having a problem with the clicker. Well, sorry guys. Okay, which works? Oh, this works. Okay. So we now know that 5.1% of these patients went back for reoperation, 15.6% had patient stays greater than 10 days, and 11.5% of these patients went back for readmission to hospital, all due to bleeding. And this is now costing hospitals hundreds of millions of dollars in brain surgery alone, and the patients don't like it either. You're looking at this current standard of care. So we have developed a biomaterial that has completely different mechanisms of action. And by doing so, it eliminates the sources of these complications, 4 major sources, and will help hospitals essentially not just save money, but provide better patient care. It establishes a beachhead in a $1.9 billion segment of a $4.5 billion market. How does it compare to the current standard of care? These 3 products have a 95% share. They all have a liability in the key things that are causing these complications, whereas we ace them. But rather than give you the details on how it works, come to my table and I'll show you. But I can show you a video in which we create a bleeding in a porcine brain, a pig brain, and we use the standard of care to control it. Now, this is rated as 77% effective in 10 minutes by the FDA. So we're going to apply on this bleeder a matrix that is soaked with thrombin and maintained with standard pressure. Now, there's an accelerated counter because we don't have 10 minutes. And as you can see, it's maintained with pressure, which is not good. It causes neurologic deficits. And at 6 minutes, it's still bleeding, and you're going to see at 10 minutes, it's still bleeding. And then we're going to apply Plexiclot with a completely different mechanism of action on the same bleeder. And as you will see, I'm trying to make up time here, we are going to apply it, and you will see that it's going to be effective in 27 seconds using the natural mechanisms of action without any manual compression, without any swelling, and without any chemical action. This was so interesting enough for neurosurgeons that 26 have invested so far in what we're doing. Okay, so how big a market is this? Well, it's a $1.9 billion niche in a $4.5 billion market. What have we accomplished so far? Well, after we've created the technology, we've tested it in 4 animal trials, we have 9 issued patents, and we've had early engagement with a strategic that paid for one of our animal studies. Our team is experienced. This is my 3rd venture. The first 2 had exits. I have the rest of them have all had long base hits. In our timeline, We expect to have our first in human in the latter part of 2027, and our first major opportunity for an exit in 2028. We are closing a $5.4 million seed round with the last $500,000 seed. The pre-money is $7 million. And thank you very much. We ran a little bit behind because of this. I apologize.
Well, we now turn to a company operating at the intersection of national security and healthcare. Humanetics is developing advanced radioprotective therapeutics designed to protect both military and civilian populations from radiation exposure, with significant near-term government and clinical applications. Please welcome Rear Admiral Colin Chin.
So thank you, Kevin, for the introduction. As you mentioned, I'm Colin Chin, the Chief Medical Officer for Humanetics. And so Humanetics is a clinical stage pharmacy company based in Minnesota. We are developing the most advanced radiation medical countermeasure for the Department of Defense. To date, we have raised approximately $155 million in capital, and $100 million of that is in non-dilutive federal contracts and grants. This year, we will receive $5 million, and next year, $10 million in federal support. So we have the near potential for commercial revenues within 24 months upon our application for emergency use authorization. We also have our intellectual property, which includes fast-track FDA approval and orphan drug designation, which will grant our company 7 years of market exclusivity. So the problem we are trying to solve is an increasing level of global toxic radiation with no means to protect military or civilian populations. The first source of damaging radiation is on the battlefield. The second source is a nuclear power facility accident. And in my lifetime, there have been 3 such accidents: 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, and Fukushima. But the third and most predominant source of radiation exposure is cancer radiation therapy. And every year, up to 10 million new patients develop solid tumors, which are candidates for cancer radiation therapy. So the solution to widespread toxic radiation is a powerful new radioprotectant called BioGraze, which is also known as Bio300. It was developed by the US military for war fighters on the battlefield. In 2014, we obtained a exclusive worldwide license from the Department of Defense, and we've been in partnership to develop it with them ever since. During this time, we've also identified other indications that could also benefit from the protective power of BioGraze, and that's in the clinical indications in cancer radiation therapy and inflammatory lung diseases. So BioGraze is very easy to administer as an oral suspension. It can be taken orally. There is no need for needles, syringes, or administration by medical personnel, and it's also safe, with no serious side effects, dose-limiting toxicities, and it's shelf-stable. So BioGraze protects the whole body from the damaging effects of radiation, and it prevents the development of acute radiation syndrome. This protection is predominantly in the lungs, the GI tract, and the bone marrow. So how does it work? Very simply, it blocks DNA damage caused by ionizing radiation. It also blocks the release of cytokines, which produce harmful inflammation and scarring of healthy tissues. So target markets for medical countermeasures are immense and widespread across several military forces, as we illustrated in this slide. Likewise, the potential market for BioGraze as an adjunct for cancer radiation therapy is also very large. Currently, we have clinical trials scheduled for 3 tumors in lung, prostate, and head and neck. But really, that's only the tip of the iceberg with regard to solid tumors. There's, as I said, up to 10 million new cases every year of patients who could benefit from BioGrace. So in 24 months, we will apply for emergency use authorization with the FDA, and upon their approval, we'll obtain a stockpiling order from the Department of Defense, will then initiate our initial commercial revenues for BioGrace. And then upon full FDA approval, we anticipate a stockpiling order from Health and Human Services for the Strategic National Stockpile. And then that will be followed by foreign regulatory approvals, and then distribution towards European, Asian markets. And finally, upon completion of phase 2B clinical trials in cancer radiation therapy, we will then collaborate with Big Pharma to commercial BioGrace for its clinical indications. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I'm at the corner in the back there. Would love to talk to you more about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Immunotherapy continues to push the frontier of how we treat cancer, but precision and durability remain key challenges. ImmunoBlue is developing a novel T-cell platform designed to generate multi-target immune responses with early focus on glioblastoma and other difficult-to-treat tumors. Please welcome Dr. Lizzie Sweeney, CEO.
Hi, I'm Lizzie Sweeney, and I'm the CEO of ImmunoBlue. We're developing IBT cells, a new class of personalized T-cell therapy for glioblastoma, the deadliest brain tumor there is. Glioblastoma, or GBM, kills nearly everyone it touches. Over 13,000 Americans are diagnosed every year, and the 5-year survival is only 7.5%. Over 90% of patients relapse after standard therapy. Our standards of care haven't changed in 2 decades, and survival really hasn't budged. The reason immunotherapy in particular has struggled in GBM is because it's not one uniform mass. GBM is made up of many different kinds of cancer cells, each showing a different warning signal to the immune system. So when you use a single targeted therapy like a traditional CAR T cell, you hit one target and the tumor simply grows back using the others. Patients desperately need something fundamentally different. IBT cells take a new approach. We use a patient's own tumor tissue and a nanoparticle-based heating process to reveal all the tumor signals simultaneously. Then we train T cells to expand to recognize the many faces of the tumor all at once. The result is a therapy that's multi-targeted, fully personalized, and much harder for the tumor to escape. And importantly, this platform is not limited to just GBM. It can be broadly applied across other solid tumors as well. Our entry market is second-line therapy for recurrent GBM, the more than 12,000 patients who relapse and really have no other options. Using the benchmark pricing of current CAR T-cell therapy, our annual addressable market is around $6 billion. And that's before we expand into newly diagnosed disease or other indications. When we look at the competitive landscape, there are other T-cell approaches out there, but they all fall short. IBT cells are the only approach that really checks all the boxes. They're activated, scalable, they're multi-targeted, fully personalized, and importantly, they enable novel antigen discovery. No one else is doing this. And we have the data that IBT cells actually work, built on over a decade of preclinical research in the lab. In our mouse GBM model, when left untreated, the tumors in these mice grow uncontrolled, and these animals succumb to their cancer. But when treated with IBT cells, more than 80% of the mice were cured long-term. You can see these mice are cancer-free. Our development path is clear and capital efficient. We've so far received $2.7 million from the NCI in STTR awards. Our phase 2 STTR is currently underway. Here we are completing IND-enabling studies, GMP manufacturing, and we're submitting applications to the FDA for both orphan drug designation and as an IND. We're ready for a phase 1 clinical trial next year, and we're seeking $10 million to fund this. We've assembled a uniquely qualified team, including a tenured bioengineering associate professor and a biopharma executive. Together, we bring over 50 years of deep domain expertise with over $5 million raised, 60-plus peer-reviewed papers, and many patents spanning this and other relevant technologies. We're supported by leaders in neurosurgery, immunotherapy, cellular manufacturing, and neuro-oncology. These established partnerships ensure that we're really prepared for a smooth transition to first-in-human trials. All the pieces for clinical translation are already in place. At ImmunoBlue, our mission is simple: to finally give people with glioblastoma a real chance at survival. Please come chat with us if you're interested. Thank you.
Next up, we have Noctum Health. Sleep is one of the most widespread and undertreated health challenges globally. Noctum Health is building a scalable, technology-enabled platform that allows providers to deliver clinically validated insomnia care more efficiently and at scale. Please welcome Dr. Anne Germain, co-founder and CEO.
There you go. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. Dr. Anne Germain, co-founder and CEO of Noctum Health. It's a startup company with a mission to solve the global insomnia crisis by empowering all healthcare providers to deliver high-care insomnia therapy, high-quality insomnia therapy to their patients at scale with the right financial incentives. Because every untreated patient with insomnia actually represents lost revenue for any healthcare provider across all medical specialties. 1.5 billion people suffer from insomnia globally. And the good news is that we have a cure for insomnia. It's called CBTI, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. The problem is that we have fewer than 500 experts to deliver CBTI in the entire world, and I happen to be one of them. And because providers are looking for scalable solutions to meet their patients' need, it's really driving this large market, fast-growing market of $10 billion. Now, we have created this scalable solution. It's called COAST, and it combines quality care driven by an expert and the scalability of technology. It's an FDA-registered clinical decision support platform that we have created and developed and clinically validated with healthcare providers and their patients, with just under $3 million in non-dilutive funding to date. And now with COAST, healthcare providers can actually provide high-quality insomnia care to their patients at scale with the right financial incentives using remote therapeutic monitoring reimbursement codes. Now, patients who are treated with COAST show the same level of engagement and clinical outcomes that you would expect if they were treated by an expert like me. For our customers, the ROI that is greater than 300% puts forward a pretty appealing economic proposal or proposition for our customers. Now, we chose to focus our initial go-to-market strategy to healthcare clinics, and it's yielding robust results. We closed 2025 with $190,000 in ARR. We're already showing 120% year-over-year growth. We have 24 paying customers, and we have $600,000 in contracting right now. And of course, as we're expanding, we're going across different medical specialties. This is the beachhead market of healthcare clinics where we initiated our go-to-market strategy, and it's a TAM of about $4-5 billion. If we really narrow that to a SAM with the initial medical specialties, we're focusing our go-to-market strategy. It's a $2 billion market, $2 billion SAM for a $100 million SOM, again, in this very narrow beachhead market where we're already showing traction. And of course, as we're expanding to other medical specialties and partnership with RPM service providers and providers, their SOM will increase significantly. We've achieved all this with a pretty capital efficient, small, lean team of experts and a group of world-class advisors with expertise in healthcare IT, SaaS, scalable infrastructure, interoperability, sleep medicine, of course, and AI. So now we're in the very last stretch of our $1 million seed raise. Here it says 500. It's actually 200,000 that is left before we close the round. And we have two goals. First one is to reach $3 million in ARR over the next 20 months. The other one is to scale our technology to be able to accommodate enterprise workflows and larger customers. If you're interested in joining this round, please let me know as soon as possible. Or partnering in some way if you are a physician, are working in healthcare, looking to partner where to help healthcare providers of all sorts, not just physicians, to support their patients with insomnia. So if you want to join that and us in our vision to make the world a better place through better sleep, my table is in the back there. Thank you very much.
mRNA has already transformed vaccines. Its potential in therapeutics is just beginning to unfold. Pinion Immunotherapeutics is advancing a pipeline of mRNA-based therapies targeting chronic infections and cancer, starting with HPV-driven disease. Please welcome Dr. Greg Glenn, CEO.
Good morning. It's good to be here. Very interesting conversations going on. I'm Greg Glenn. I'm the CEO of Pinion Immunotherapeutics. We're targeting virally induced chronic diseases and cancer with the mRNA platform. We have a very experienced group of people, including myself. I've been in development in biotech for 30 years. I started a company which went public and was sold in 2008. I joined Novavax. I became the president of R&D there and went through Operation Warp Speed and developed our vaccine, which is licensed in 38 countries. I have a very experienced strategic advisors, including Jim Young, who is my counterpart at MedImmune, and my board chairman, Phil Krause, from the Deputy Director of FDA, former CDC director, and former VP at Genzyme. So we have a very interesting pipeline. I retired after a lot of success at Novavax in my arena, but I had some issues that I thought we could use mRNA, some unmet medical needs where mRNA was really perfectly designed, thus the word pinion, which is the enabling feather on the bird, lets them fly. mRNA is really critical for inducing the kind of immunity that is important for immunotherapy of established diseases. So all these diseases listed up there are driven by viral infections. I'm going to talk mainly about HPV. HPV-16 drives women's health care. It's why women get pap smears and regular monitoring, because if you have this virus infecting the cervix, it can transform into a precancer and cancer, and it's a leading cause of cancer in the world and really a big problem everywhere, including the developed world. So the kind of investment I'm talking about here for HPV is what I've learned is called impact investing, where you are able to use the beauty of the U.S. biotech system to develop products that have global health applications. So just a little bit about HPV-related cervical pre-malignancies. The infection, it gets into the cells of the cervix. They transform the cells to become dysplastic, and they become cancerous if left alone. Standard of care today is surgery. Surgery has a lot of drawbacks, including it's not highly effective, as you can imagine, whereas an immunotherapy is very precise, can actually kill the cells and remove the tumor cells. There's been a lot of work here, so this is relatively low-hanging fruit. Throughout my career, I've watched this thinking, this is a product that is very badly needed and has a low barrier for success. This is a kind of a complex diagram how things work. On the left, you see the mRNA is injected in an intradermal vaccine. It's then induces T cells. The T cells go to the tumor and eliminate the tumor. And as you probably know, if you look on the right, you can see how effective it is in a tumor model. Immunotherapy is really, taking over in our field and extremely effective when it works properly. So we've designed a phase 1/2 pivotal trial, which is, very capital efficient. This trial is designed to take women who have this condition, immunize them, and look for complete regression of the lesions and elimination of the HPV-16 signal. We have extremely good advisors, experts in the area. The trial is blinded. It's powered so that if it does work, it could be the efficacy study, and that, of course, is a major evaluation point for the company. So why are we here? Well, first to hear everybody else's nice talks, but also we're raising money. I have a kind of a complicated slide up here. We're raising for the HPV $20 million that will cover the trial, get us to a major inflection point with phase 2 efficacy. We've broken it down into the phase 1 portion where we look at 30 subjects, make sure it's safe and immunogenic, and then enroll the other 200 subjects for the final efficacy study. We have a committed lead. We're looking to fill in $3 million for the tranche 1 or $10 million for tranche 2. This is really a good investment. This is something that will both help women, it's very much needed, and have global impact through the implementation of this in the more poor setting. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be here to answer questions.
All right, finally, our last company today. Tisha Jepson is CEO and co-founder of TrueBearing Diagnostics, a first-of-its-kind blood test that can rapidly identify and differentiate infections. Born out of research here at George Washington University, the company just launched sample collection today at Children's National Hospital for its FDA clearance study. Excited to have her here. Please welcome me as we please join me as we welcome Tisha.
Hello, my name is Tisha Jepson. I'm CEO of TrueBearing Diagnostics, and first I want to thank GW and CONNECTpreneur for having us here today and for uplifting this community. So, TrueBearing Diagnostics, we're here to talk about revolutionizing precision healthcare. When infection is the question, guesswork is the standard. TrueNav offers a change with the foundation of infection medicine. Imaging, antibiotics, watchful waiting dominate care. Not because they're best, but because better tools just don't exist. Billions are being spent, millions are being scanned, and still no answer, no clear answer. We diagnose infection by looking everywhere except the immune system. TrueNav is a scientifically validated RNA-based blood test. We are looking at neutrophil activation, which is the human immune response or the inflammatory response. We detect bacterial, viral, and biofilm infection. We also can measure the magnitude, which means that we can potentially offer doctors the ability to track the therapy that's undertaken. Our application pipeline is vast. We can see the full spectrum of infection. Our initial entry to market will be abdominal infection, and that is the area in which our FDA clearance is focused. We, as partners with our FDA clearance, have University of Virginia Healthcare System, Children's National Hospital, Cleveland Clinic, and others. So why does this matter? 29 million patients present with infection-like symptoms annually. The current approach is watchful waiting, antibiotics, CT imaging, exploratory surgery. Yet often, these approaches fail to provide clear answers. Our total TAM is $50 billion a year. Our SAM, meaning for the current area of focus, which is abdominal pain and which is our FDA clearance approach, is is 5 to 7 billion. If we were to just take 1% of the capture of the abdominal pain sector alone, that's $180 million in revenue generation potential. What are physicians and key opinion leaders saying about TrueBearing? What they're saying is they want this test to be available for patients. We have, as I mentioned, UVA, Children's National Hospital, Cleveland Clinic, as among our partners. We're offering groundbreaking technology. We have 6 key biomarkers. We're working and developing and delivering our test on digital PCR, Bio-Rad, and the QIAGEN system, and we have valid algorithms. We are proven, published, and patented. We have multiple data sets completed. We have publications, patents, and we're teed up to go through FDA clearance. As my introducer mentioned, we are starting today with sample collection with one of our partners, Children's National Hospital. We have a competitive landscape. The point that's most important to understand is that we see the full scope of infection. Nothing else out there does that. We can see bacterial, viral, and biofilm, and we are the perfect frontline test for physicians to be able to offer the industry. Why invest now? High ROI potential, de-risked asset, and clinical demand, as demonstrated by the partners that want to participate with this study. We are in the future, once we have scale, we plan to incorporate AI into the system, and our current FDA clearance timeline is 2 years. The actual clock starts today. Our team is included in myself, Dr. Tim McCaffrey, who started the genomics lab and the genomics core at Cornell University, moved to GW, started the genomics core at GW, and this is his life's work, as it is mine. Nora M. Meckley-Baker is our CFO, and she's worked with the likes of GE, with International Paper, with Pepsi. We, as a combined group, have multiple exits and strong experience, in addition to our scientific advisory board and our business advisory board. We have trusted partners that are deep, and we are expanding those groups. The current capital raise, executing towards FDA clearance, we have secured $800,000 in the initial tranche of a $5 million raise. We are now inviting additional investors to participate. That's you all and beyond. And please share our story with others if you would like. This capital directly enables clinical execution, FDA confirmatory study progress, and value creation milestones. Joining now is the time. We have $16 million into our non-dilutive story. We have $2 million into where we are today and directly into the company, and we are moving forward. We have a value creation roadmap that is solid, and TrueNav will restore confidence by providing a real answer when symptoms are ambiguous. The outcome? A shift from reactive medicine to precision navigation based on immune activation. Join us and make a revolutionary change with healthcare. Thank you so much, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Tisha. Let's give it up for all of our 9 awesome presenters. A couple other people I'd like to point out in the audience. We have Jen O'Daniel. Jen, please wave, with the Virginia Venture Partners, formerly known as CIT. Welcome. And from TEDCO, we have Jean-Luc Park, who runs social impact funds. Jean-Luc, thank you for joining us. I've got great news for everybody. We've got plenty of donuts left. So please join Jeff Cherry, in indulging, and Chef Tony's got lots of food, so please enjoy. We have the room for another hour, so go ahead and get some good networking done, and thank you guys for joining us. And our table has our next event, so feel free to scan and join us soon. Take care. Thanks.